represent Chiefs Kingdom. Exactly. Your passion and love is unmatched. You're here no matter when and where. This is just the beginning. We have a long ways to go. Thank you.
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind and decide this right. You explain it through time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. Wasted and honest to watch.
From the Kansas City Sports Update Studio, this is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Spreaker.com, Player FM, YouTube, and all third-party applications. How are we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? It is Monday, April 29th, about high noon here. Today we're going to do our draft class grade. So our draft grade, we're also going to touch base on the Tyreek Hill thing here. Look, our team is solidified. We have put all the pieces together. We are as near of a complete team as we possibly could be going into this upcoming season. The time is now, Kansas City. The time is now. 50 years. It'll be 51 years, the 100th anniversary of the NFL. Kansas City, it's our time. The pieces are in place. And it's time to let Patrick Mahomes do his thing. Have faith in the front office that they're going to make all the right decisions with everything that's going on in Chiefs Kingdom. With that being said, the road to the Super Bowl is paved in just about every facet. And with that being said, the NFL draft has come to a conclusion, and I feel like the Chiefs came out pretty decent in the NFL draft. I think our draft grade, is a B minus. I've seen a lot of C pluses and C's for our draft grade across different platforms. But I do want to start off with saying in round 2, we got McCole Hartman, a Georgia from wide receiver. He's a gadget player, extremely explosive. There was better talent on the board in my mind, but overall, as far as a rounded player, great choice. Plus, he was laser clocked in at a 4.24. And they didn't even give him enough credit on the 40 because I believe they say he ran like a 4.38 or something. But it was clocked in at a 4.24 40. That's smoking, blazing fast. We also got Juan Thornhill, a defensive back from Virginia in the second round. Round 3, Kalen Saunders, defensive tackle from Western Illinois. Round 6, cornerback Rashad Fenton from South Carolina, I believe. Also in round 6, we got Darwin Thompson, running back from Utah State. I really like that. You guys will see an explosive player coming on the field. All I have to say is Darren Sproles. That's really all I have to say, but we'll get in deeper into that here in a few. Round 7, Illinois offensive lineman Nick Allegretti. Another nice situation for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like what we did with the draft. As far as the mock draft here on the Richard Smith Show, Chris Chavez, our senior draft analyst, came up with a almost perfect scenario for a draft class, and he was right on every position. Just players didn't line up the way that we thought. So, Chris, great job on that, on the mock draft. And so here we go. Let's get into a little bit deeper with the players that we drafted. McCole Hartman, we're going to start with him. He'll likely be playing in the slot position this year as he learns the route tree and the offense. and he'll be able to watch Sammy Watkins. And honestly, I know Chiefs King doesn't really know this much, but he came in early and stayed late last year, talking about Watkins, to work on his route running. And I believe that McCole Hartman will follow his lead. And look, Hardman and Darwin Thompson will likely be special teams aces. But I also look for both of them to have an immediate impact in the offense as well. Thompson definitely is going to have an immediate impact in the backfield because it features Williams and Hyde. And I look for Hyde to be the featured back because I just don't see Williams carrying the load. So I think that a player like Thompson will complement both of them. And he's a smaller back. He's the guy that the linebackers can't see through the line. So I like having that big impact player on our team. He's gonna complement everything that we've been looking for. Andy Reid is more so in his career than not had a player like this on his team, and that's why I say Darren Sproles. But Westbrook was like that too. So he's bringing back another player like that. So I really like that. We're getting some immediate impact out of Darwin Thompson. Juan Thornhill definitely brings some swagger to the D. Him and Tyrann Mathieu will immediately connect. I really look for that to be one of those things. They'll dominate the field. They're really going to set the tone and just command the secondary. Another immediate impact player. That's the thing. Like our grade all around is good in my mind, but not as far as the analysts around the NFL. But look at our drafts in the past. I have no doubt whatsoever in any player that we pulled out of the draft. Kalen Saunders, defensive tackle. I really like this guy. This is a guy that was doing backflips at the Senior Bowl, or was it the Combine, one of the two. He's a great opportunity to bulk up and learn the game while getting some playing time, but not having an immediate step in and start. He's going to eventually take the place of Xavier Williams, I believe. But this is really just translate for an opportunity, well into next year. His selection will likely really be the end of Xavier Williams' run with KC. I see them cutting him loose because this guy's that good of a talent. He really is. There's no reason to pay Williams that type of money when we have a younger talent coming in who probably is going to outproduce Williams. And Fenton's true strength is he's willing to come down and tackle. He gets off blocks, and that's a big time deal for an interior lineman to be able to get off blocks and make tackles. He's a tackling machine. But his truly best chances of making this team somewhere might be switching to safety, but we already have a lot of those, which is really weird, to think about that. A defensive tackle switching to safety, but look, he's fast. He's a versatile player, and that he's a big. That'd be a big safety. That's crazy to think about. But also, here's the thing. Unless Fenton proves me wrong, he'll likely be outplayed by a couple cornerbacks we signed as undrafted free agents. Allegretti will need some time to develop professional playing strength. He is a smarter leader on the interior, which we need. I mean, there's not that we don't. He'll likely be a backup for a while, but could possibly become a starter. But that won't happen for a couple of years. So, with that being said, that's really where we lie with our draft class. And I will say that there are, at least 3 immediate impact players. I really like McCole Hartman, what he looks like. I was kind of disappointed at first, but after I see his speed and how well-rounded he is, that's a really great pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. Darwin Thompson, that's awesome. That realistically is going to be our little project here because we can put him anywhere on the field. As long as he can catch out of the backfield, which looks like he can, it's going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses. And that Kalen Saunders, defensive tackle, I really like him. He's extremely athletic, but I want to see more out of him. I mean, you can make a splash at the Senior Bowl, and you can make a splash at the Combine doing backflips, but I want to see your energy on the field. Let's see if it can translate, to the professional level, and we'll see where you're at. Was he I believe he was the one that was known as the Aaron Donald of the what is it, the Division II NCAA, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he was known as the Aaron Donald of like Division II football. I believe that's him. One of the players we drafted is, and I really think that's him. So this is cool. We have some players with some motors. We have some players with some heart, and this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys watch the after the draft, the post-draft interviews with, our top 3 picks. That was really interesting. They had some really cool things to say, and they're just ready to get to work. And work they will, because in an Andy Reid system, you better, bust your ass and know every fine, gritty detail of every single thing possible, because if you don't, you will not be a Kansas City Chief. So with that being said, this new season is underway. There's a subject I want to touch base on. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to touch base on it. But at this point, I definitely should. We are on the brink of a new season, and with the Tyreek Hill situation, I just kind of want to touch base on a couple things here. The closest situation that relates to Hills is the Adrian Peterson scenario. In that circumstance, Adrian Peterson was suspended for 6 games, the remainder of his season. And remember, folks, before you hop on and say anything about, well, Hill shouldn't be playing due to personal reasons, due to integrity reasons, this is strictly a football scenario. I'm not talking about anything personally. This is strictly football and where he lies with the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. Now, Hill should be in line for that length of suspension that Adrian Peterson was, which was 6 games, remainder of the season. Other reporters are calling for Hill to not be only suspended, but banned from the NFL. And, about an hour ago, it was put out there to the media that the commissioner is thinking about putting Tyreek Hill on the exempt list. So here's the problem with that reaction, with Hill being banned from the NFL. Assaulting fans, raping women, drug use, selling drugs gets a maximum 8 games per the collective bargaining agreement. That then sends the message that raping a woman is more acceptable than child abuse. Per the collective bargaining agreement, the maximum that Hill can be suspended will be 8 games. To our knowledge, Hill has not lied to the organization about the circumstances of this situation, which is really the only reason Kansas City let Kareem Hunt go. So now, the Chiefs have the ball in their court. Do they want to continue on with a man who now has a track record of violence? If they do, they will certainly take a hit in the media and fan base. And that's guaranteed to happen. It's guaranteed to happen. But if they cut him, they will have lost 2 talented players with no return. Here is what Hill should do. Tyreek, check yourself into therapy. Whatever therapy you can, everything, parenting classes. Take a year away from the team. Get your head on straight. The NFL will suspend you for 6 games. It's going to happen. Take a season off. Get your head right. And form the team you want to work on becoming a better, more rounded individual. I want to take the year to do that. This will be you actively getting ahead of this and truly working on your demons. Excuse me. You're going to be truly working on your demons. Not necessarily my place to say this, but in the same scenario, this is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a professional organization. You are absolutely in the public eye. And that's what the scenario is. It's on paper. That's what the scenario is, Kansas City. So now, with that being said, I think that there should definitely be new rules and regulations enforced in the NFL about this very scenario right here. But to make a suggestion that in the new CBA, they could propose lifetime bans. But until then, the NFL does have to follow the agreed upon rules and bylaws. But the player should have to go to a jury of his peers, current and former players, who will make the ultimate decision as to what the punishment for any infraction should be. Goodell has definitely been catching a lot of flack because of the inconsistencies in his punishment, but he has to come down hard. He has to, Chiefs Kingdom. There's no other way. Because when the player challenges the ruling, the sentence is often shortened. This way, Goodell could have the league representative or even himself on the board of discipline. But it isn't all him. And I think that's really important that it isn't all him, because as an analyst, you get, even as an analyst, you catch a lot of flack for your thoughts and your beliefs and the scenarios that are going on. And that Goodell's catching this backlash 5,000 times more than anybody. So if you're catching that much backlash, let's find a way to improve this, because we are at a point where I don't want to point the finger at Goodell. You won't point a finger at a panel, because that's more than one person coming together and making an assumption. 2 current players, 2 former players, and a moderator. And I like that. Even if the moderator is Goodell, I don't care. Let's just have a panel. I think that would take the confusion out of football as to where the line is drawn for scenarios like this. I don't want to be blasted for this, Kansas City. This is purely football. This is making sense of a scenario that is on the table for the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it embarrassing? Yes. Do I even want to talk about it? No. But to continue to have stuff like this happen when we're giving these players chances over and over again, this is 2 years in a row for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're losing 2 of our best players. This is hard. This is not an easy situation. You can say whatever you want to about us going and getting players with pasts. Do you want to win? Do you want to win? That's my thing. I'm not saying keep them. I'm not saying cut them. I don't know what to do. All I'm doing is saying this is the breakdown, and this is the bottom line in black and white. What is going to happen or could potentially happen? Will he exempt Tyreek Hill? That could happen too. We'll see what happens. But Kansas City, rest assured this, there's a new football season underway. And with or without Tyreek Hill, we have a Super Bowl to win. So I'm still pumped up. I hope Kansas City is. I know there's a lot of stress going on right now. And look, it's a new year, a new season. Put this in the past. All we have is one more speed bump. I know it's a big one, but I think that we picked up some pretty amazing prospects in the draft to replace that or complement that, however it works out. So Kansas City, look, you have a fantastic week. It's Monday. Y'all got a whole work week ahead of you. So enjoy the week, Kansas City. Get to work. I'm sure there'll be some more news ahead here soon about the Tyreek Hill incident. And, let's get into training camp. Let's get this stuff going. Let's roll. This is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. I am at the Kansas City Sports Update Studio, brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Check me out. Check the Richard Smith Show out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Player FM, YouTube, and all third-party applications. Go Chiefs.